closer you got to me, the faster I try to leave. Like a mirage, like a mirage. The scars that you try to keep on my arms, I am feeling deep. Like a mirage, like a mirage.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's going on? Serious crew, serious gentlemen. I hope everybody is having a fantastic Sunday. I hope everybody has been having a wonderful weekend so far. I know most of us have had our tissues out on a very special event for the mental health awareness edition of the Serious Gentlemen. Everybody from this panel is from Team Serious. Everybody from this panel is a serious gentleman. First and foremost, let's get a couple announcements out the way. Much love and appreciation for United Vindication, Club Kiwi, Rage Zone, Galaxy Hound, and everybody and everyone involved in this event that we're so blessed and lucky to be a part of, and getting our messages, our voices out, our stories and our experiences out. It's been a fantastic weekend. It's been a fantastic event altogether. Major shout out to everybody that's participated thus far and is going to continue to participate into the evening hour. Stay tuned. We will be closing out the event on this channel, Team Serious DFW. We will have an admin roundtable with all the communities at the end of the event to discuss, to talk about, to be there for each other, and to continue on doing what we do best, and is tell our stories as best way we know how to do. So let's get some introductions out the way. I am not so busy. I am CTO CIO of Team Serious LLC. I do everything, anything technology driven, internet driven. I'm their resident IT guy. We also have Brozine, and I'll let them all introduce themselves. We have my boss man underneath me, Shook, the CEO of Team Serious LLC, does everything CEO. Whatever he does, he's the boss man. And then you got my one of my great friends, Flatbed Smack, always bringing his rugged ass conversation and that beautiful ass beard he has. Love your Wes. Go ahead, Brozine.
Yeah, Brozine. I'm CEO of Brozine Industries LLC and .com.org, and you can find me on YouTube creating the Bro Show. Shout out to Tombstone, who will be on next week. Real excited. And at Twitch at Brozine.
Yo, Flap. I do the comedy. I do the painting. Pretty bad at that. On me.
That was a splendid introduction, Flap. Shook here. Like not so busy mentioned earlier. We are Team Serious here, and we're just here. We're grateful to be here, and we're just blessed to, like he mentioned, be a part of this great organization with all these different communities talking about the stigma, and we're trying to make a difference here. So hope everybody's having a great time.
So we're going to start off our take a little bit on mental health. We're going to come out not only with our experiences, but a little more informational, and hopefully by the time the second hour hits and we raid over to the next channel, people kind of leave with a better understanding on not only on the information, but our experiences. And we're happy to be here, and we're happy to be in a collaborative effort, because as soon as Tombstone called me that day and he said mental health, no questions asked, I said, how can we help? And they immediately called Shook and our COO Ramazy, and everybody was on board. So there was no questions asked. Everybody's been through something in their life. It does, don't downplay your story, because your story helps somebody, if not to tell us how to cope, the steps that you did to get out of it, or to become a better person. So we're gonna play a little informational piece real quick to get the conversation started.
Where is the bus? I'm late. My mum's gonna kill me. It's really dark. I always feel like someone's watching me. I'm gonna fail my driving test. I'm dropping to pass maths. I'm never gonna get those essays done by Monday. Am I going to get enough points in leaving? Why don't guys like me? They're just hanging out with me out of pity. I just want to talk to someone. I should be studying, but I can't. I'm going to fail the leaving cert. Will's going to break up with me. Why can't they leave me alone? I can't face school tomorrow. My mum doesn't understand me. Are they separating for real this time? Should I move in with my mom or my dad? Is that going to get better? What am I going to do with my life? I need a job. They're going to kill me for failing that exam. I spent way too much time on Facebook. What should I do in college? Do I have any real friends? Why am I such a freak? Why is everyone mocking me? I look horrible. Will anyone go to my devs with me? Why did I get drunk and make such a fool out of myself? Everyone judges me. What's everyone going to think about me tomorrow? What's my mum going to say? I'm afraid to talk to my friends. My parents won't listen. There's no one to turn to. I'm afraid.
You okay?
Actually,
We all have problems. It's how we deal with them that makes us different. If negative thoughts are overwhelming you, you can always talk to a friend, a parent, a teacher, a guidance counselor, or a healthcare professional. Control your problems. Control your life.
That's always a good little piece to release, because how many of us have from time to time kind of just go inside? How many of us will say we're good just to kind of check that box off when somebody asked us? But how many of us take the go ahead and bring that courage up to say, you know what, I'm actually not that good. And I'm gonna start with Shook, and then go over to Flap, and then go over to Brosy, and kind of go out with the moment that you said, I'm not so good. Like, what were the steps that you finally took? And Shook, we saw the beta video where you were hospitalized a few times. But what was it that you finally did in your life that you said, dude, this is enough? Like, I'm not good.
Oh man, where do I start? I'm so hard headed. It took me 3 times in the hospital to finally say, okay, I think I need some help. But it was a journey. It was a decision that I had to make, because every time I would get out of the hospital, I would go back and revert to doing the same things over and over. And those are the things that got me in the hospital in the first place, right? So it was a matter of making a personal decision and a change of environment, change of lifestyle, change of everything pretty much. So picture you're in your comfort zone and you're doing everything that you do on a normal basis. But for me, it was partying, drinking, and, just hanging around the crowd that I wasn't supposed to. And I didn't want to give that up. So I felt that as soon as I got out of the hospital, okay, I'm good now. But those lasting effects, the anxiety and the panic attacks and the migraines and the vertigo, everything that came in, it just got worse every single time. And some of it was due to because I was drinking alcohol. So I would think, okay, cool, I'm back to normal. Let me go ahead and get my whiskey on again, get the Jameson and everything, right? And started drinking some. And then little do I know, like maybe a few hours later, after the last time I went to the hospital, then all that started happening again. And it was even bad where the next day I didn't do anything but just drive to work. But I experienced all those feelings while I was going to work in the car. So like I almost like passed out on the like driving to work. So I was like, I think that's enough for me. and finally decided to make to take that decision and say, okay, I'm going to change everything that's in my life, and I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to rebuild my entire person. Everyone that's around me, I'm going to have to just kind of filter, if not like, say, see you later, you're not my friend anymore because this is happening. But I'm just going to take a little, I'm going to step back a little bit and work on myself, and then I'll come back. And that to me, that's what helped me, is I had to step back, and the effects were still there. They happened for months on after that. I still experienced very bad anxiety, experienced very bad panic attacks, and then migraines kept coming in, and I had vertigo because of that too. So if you don't know what vertigo is, you're just chilling or whatever, and you feel like the whole room is spinning and you get dizzy and all that kind of stuff. So that kept happening to me. I had these like episodes, but eventually I just kept doing what I knew was best for me, and that was to just stop doing the stuff that I was doing and just get back into it. And because of that, it really helped me out. So now I don't experience any of that. I'm way better off where I'm at now, and I don't drink any more alcohol, or even caffeine was affecting me. So I don't drink coffee anymore. I just strictly changed my entire diet too. So it all helped. It helped me out a lot. I'm actually living a much better, healthier lifestyle than I was before, and all that, I think, in my opinion, helped me get through the worst part of my life.
Definitely made the right choice there. Funny enough, mine came from migraines and panic attacks as well. I worked for a supermarket delivering just groceries and stuff, and I was usually on the night shift, so not finished until like 1 o'clock in the morning. But I have light induced migraines, so bright lights and that would often bring it on. And as I'm sure you're aware, it's some of the worst pain I've ever experienced, migraines. So I was delivering quite far away from my house at this point, and I could feel one coming on. So I started getting really panicky, started feeling sick, lightheaded. I pushed it to one side, just carried on doing my job, unloading the customer's shopping to the front door, put it on the ground, handed in the first basket. Next thing I know, I was laying on my back on their driveway, looking up at them, and it was raining. So I passed out because I was having a panic attack because I didn't do anything about it. But so the ambulance came, checked me over, said I was all fine. Next day, I went to the doctors, had ECGs, I think they're called, where they strap you up with, check your heart and that. And that was when I started being medicated for my anxiety and depression. They sent me to CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which helped massively. It taught me how to control my thoughts more than anything. So that was a big thing for me. Just being told that this is real, there is stuff we can do about it. You can sort it out.
For me, it's a bit different from Chick and Flack. I don't really like suffer from anxiety or panic attacks, but ever since my son was born, for those that don't know, I had a son last year. He's about 15 months old now, but for me, the mental health thing that I really deal with is this repression and anger. I was cursed with the anger portion of mental health, and it is really hard sometimes for me and my family to kind of deal with that. It's something I'm actually dealing with currently. I wish I could say, I got help and I'm better, but it really kind of trying to figure out how to best explain the story. So it all started when Jace was born. And I put on all this weight real rapidly just from being a dad. I've felt like mentally I've been on cloud nine until Jace was born. But here's the story. It's not related to because he was born. When I put on all the weight from figuring out how to be a dad and a homeowner and all this stuff in the same year, it put so much stress on my mental state that it was almost like, I felt like the burden was too much, but all my life I've just repressed. When I have an issue, I deal with it on my own terms, and I do deal with them. But I'm so used to that when I was finally faced with an issue that I couldn't deal with on my own, the repression would just turn into this horribly irritable person that was no fun to be around and just like draining on my family and not a good environment for Jace. So it's something that I've been dealing with to kind of, the video kind of spoke to me, the whole message, it's okay to not be okay. I'm kind of coming to that conclusion now. So, if I see a movie, and as silly as this sounds, and it's sad and I want to cry, I just kind of just cry right there, and I use that Full Metal Alchemist quote. I'm just like, oh, it's a terrible time for rain right now, Brittany. Oh man, I can't believe it's raining on me right now. I just kind of shake it off, and it makes it feels good to do those like kind of emotions instead of just being this like stonewall face that's like, all right, I'm going to go to work now. I'm going to pay the bills, and I'm going to go downstairs on my computer and escape. I'm trying to break that mentality and, not be as angry. So that's kind of like up to date, like where I'm at with my mental state. And, I'm working on a lot of my health issues. The stream kind of dissolved for a few months there. This was all kind of related to, if I don't make a positive change off stream, I'm not going to have a stream. I have to focus on myself and right my mental state. So getting my health back in shape and starting to lose weight. And I even started that vlog to kind of express my thoughts about the whole fitness journey again, going from somebody who was in shape to what I call pretty overweight, really crushes your self-esteem. When what you see people deal with it all the time. When you see yourself in the mirror and then you lose that, and you see yourself in the mirror now, and then everyone, your time hop, your Facebook history showing you your past all the time, that can like really eat at you. So I've like taken a break from social media and viewing those posts because they just crack my mental super quick. And I don't want that energy, so I kind of rely on family now to bring my self-esteem up. I talk to my brother a lot. I try and talk to Brittany as much as I can. I try and really rely on my parents when I'm having a bad day. And sometimes I just put my phone down and hang out with Jace, and I try not to think of anything. And it's just like Jace and I time. And that just seemed to do a lot for me in terms of like escaping what's going on in the world for an hour or two.
Thanks everybody for sharing your stories. Glad that everybody is on the same page, at least if not getting help. It's going through the motions and understanding that we can't do this alone. And everybody brings in a lot of good valid points. My biggest thing is always been anxiety, worried about being worried. For those of you that don't know, during this whole planning this event and things like that, during the Thanksgiving timeframe, Shook and I had to bury our grandmother due to COVID. A lot of people didn't know that. We kind of went silent. We kind of stepped away and had to deal with that. And the anxiety was through the roof for me. And being the person that I am is I jumped in and asked my family, where can I be the most of use? Where can I be the most help? And I took over a lot of the things like, have y'all thought about this? Have y'all thought about that? That's how I automatically cope. How can I be useful in such a negative, situation? I automatically jumped up and started organizing things, and people, and I asked my aunts and my cousins that were dealing with the event, have y'all thought about this? Do we need to go get this? Do we need to buy this? Do we need to get prepared? And that's exactly what I did. But I think going back to Brosing's point, I think at times we all need to take a break from social media. We all need to pull away at times and kind of reflect. And one things that I learned from Shook, you can even learn things from your little brother. Shook is my little brother. He said, meditate. And I'm starting to understand that process and starting to undertake a lot of the things the tools that he uses today that had benefited him on another level. And he's starting to kind of give me, hey, dude, this is what I've read. This is what doctors I talked to. This is what I know. And it helped me in my life. And I think you need to do that. So a lot of the things, what does anxiety do for me? It brings on insomnia. I can never relax. I have to have sleeping pills to get sleep. And all this amounts to different things in my life. This year, 2020 sucks, but 2020 sucks in a very personal way to us, because also at the beginning of the year, before we knew COVID was a thing, Shook and I almost lost our father to a heart attack, to 2 clogged arteries. So I almost buried my dad at the beginning of the year. A lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people that keep up with me, Flap, love you to death. He notices. He sends me an email. You've been really fucking quiet. Are you okay? Are you good? And those are the type of people, you know, that keep you kind of going, that keep you kind of like, damn, these dudes or these people actually notice what's going on in my life. One of the things that very few knew, I know I reached out to Taz and Tremolian because of the anxiety of all the buildup and everything that's happened in my life, even personal. There's even more personal things that I'm not even ever. I don't even know if I'll ever be ready to discuss those publicly, at least. Medically, yes. But at one point, I don't know if anybody on this panel is familiar with Bell's palsy. What that is it's literally a facial weakness. I lost half of half of my face. It all drooped. I had reached a boiling point with my anxiety and my stress, that I lost the sense in my face. So think about two-faced. All this one side was droopy. I couldn't close my eyes. I couldn't move half of my mouth. I could barely drink water without spilling it all over myself. And that was hell. And when I went to the emergency room, they automatically thought it was something related to a stroke, because that's kind of like stroke symptoms. And that's when I decided to finally say, fuck this anxiety. What can I do? And a lot of us forget that, going back to another Brosing's point, is working out releases a lot of that tension, a lot of that stress, a lot of that frustration, a lot of those worries. You got to take care of your body. As one of our talking points, take care of your body. Going back to Shook's point, he changed his whole routine. He changed his lifestyle. He changed his diet. He avoids caffeine now. Even and I'm kind of a jerk, because I go over to his house, like, oh yeah, let me get the biggest cup of coffee you got. He looks at me.
Where's the coffee at? I'm like, dude, we bought this coffee just for you because I don't have coffee here.
And he's over there, and I'm making the biggest giant cup of coffee with this little coffee maker that he has. And he's like, oh man, it smells so good, but I don't drink caffeine anymore. And I can't, going back to, I think it was Rage's wife on the comments, like, I had to have 2 cups of coffee as well to get my day started. Now, that's a way that we process certain things, right? Our bodies start to use certain coping mechanisms like caffeine and nicotine and so on and so forth to deal with a lot of these mental health stress and issues that we go through, and understanding that there are other ways to treat it, because the first thing the doctors wanted to put me on is the same thing the VA's always been trying to put me on, all kinds of freaking pills. And I refused to take them, because when I did take them, all veterans on this cast can know anywhere on this on the chat that you are a fucking zombie. You are literally a fucking zombie. And I refuse to be a freaking zombie. Now, zombie games are my thing. Everybody knows that's what I'm known for. But I don't want to be a zombie. But it was awakening for myself and my wife, and I'm a caregiver for my wife. For those of you who don't know, Hello Jimmy suffers from PTSD. Hello Jimmy is my wife, and the nickname that was donned on me by her is Mr. Mom, because she goes and does everything she needs to do for her military. And I say, you ain't got to worry about shit. I got your 6. I got everything that has to do with the household. I do everything. I cook, I clean, change diapers, feed, I took care of my children, because the biggest thing that a lot of males do and in the military, and I always call it like it is males, the first thing to do is they call their mom or they call their sister or they call a cousin, somebody that's a female, to come take care of the children. Why? They're your children's. Take care of your own children. And I'll be the first advocate to stand up. I was like, you need some help. You want me to teach you how to change a diaper, bro? I got you. I'm an expert. I got 4 children's.
Might have to hold you to that.
You have to learn how to take care of yourself. You have to value yourself. Learn how to do the basics so you can teach your kids those same basics. My kids know how to do everything in the house. They even do windows, because I refuse to let my kids be gender specific when it comes to certain roles in the house. No, everybody cleans. Fuck what you heard. Everybody cleans. Everybody does laundry. Everybody irons. That's the way I like to raise my kids, because that's the way my mom raised me. My mom always said, you don't need no female doing nothing for you. You're going to learn it today, and you're going to learn today. I'm going to play another little video here. This one's going to take a little while. I think it's a 15-minute video, but it's about depression, because a lot of us, you have anxiety, and it typically leads into depression. And there's the type of medication they try to get you more relates to depression than it does anxiety. So that's why I hate taking it, because I don't get into depression. Not to say that I couldn't be there, but I'm always worried about being worried. And all caffeine does is speed up being worried, right? That's all caffeine really does. It's like, now I was worried slower, now I'm worried faster. Let me go ahead and share that real fast. Oh, Maurice, no, let me share it real fast.
You just want to step out of it, to step out of the whole race, the whole business. The monstrosity of being alive overwhelms you.
If you have depression, if you have anxiety, if you have post-traumatic stress disorder, if you have any kind of mental health condition, this is not something to ignore.
Depression, frustration, anxiety, pain, disillusion. It's just a natural part of the process of becoming a stronger version of yourself.
The thing that keeps one living is a sense of future, that there will be a tomorrow, and tomorrow I've got to do this, and then the day after I've got to do that.
Get started. And I'm going to tell you right now, it won't be easy. It will be hard, because life is hard. That's what life is.
With depression, one of the most important things you could realize is that you're not alone.
I've been places and someone has said, well, you lost an arm and a leg, so you have a right to be depressed. And I stopped them. I was like, depression is real.
No matter what you're going through right now, doesn't mean that it's not going to end. I think too often we think about the stresses that we're dealt with right now, and we think that there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
All that you can see is darkness, and everything that you try to do just kicks you right back in the face, and you just can't seem to get yourself up.
You don't even have to go through something traumatic. Some are caused by something traumatic. Some can be a chemical imbalance in the brain.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. Life is hard. Life is challenging. There are ups and downs.
And these challenges that you face, they're going to do their best to take you down. Do not let them.
Of course you have to work. Of course you have to show up. Your team needs you. Life needs you. Your family needs you. Life is for the living.
Depression is not only normal, it's essential, and be grateful for it, because it allows you to reorder yourself at a higher level.
I speak what's on my heart. And I gave my speech, and as I was closing, I kind of mentioned some depression, because I was coming out of the winter months, and it hit me again this past winter, and I went and saw the doctor, and so it was on my mind, and it came up. And as I was saying, I thought, this generation of people probably aren't connecting to what I'm saying. When I walked off the stage and they lined up, the amount of people that thanked me They're talking about mental health. And here I was, I thought they didn't want to hear. I thought I was stepping out of line. No, it needs to be talked about because it's not just this generation. It's people are realizing more and more that it's an issue. And the more we talk about it, the easier it is for people to be honest with themselves and get the help they need.
Line up those problems and confront them, face them, fight them. Do not let them bring you down.
Do not personally identify with your depression. See it as you see winter, and winter always leads to spring and summer again. See it as you see nighttime. Nighttime becomes daytime again.
Hold on to that fundamental quality of faith. And on the other side of your pain is something good.
Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. No matter what you're going through right now, doesn't mean that it's not going to end.
Stand up, dig in, let those challenges raise you up, let them elevate you, let their demands and their trials make you stronger. Adversity you face today turn you into a better person tomorrow.
You are worth more than diamonds. All the diamonds in the world, you are so precious. Every single one of your hearts, you can do something. Life is not always good. Life is always not rosy. But life is worth living.
There's one thing that if you did every single day, it would make an extraordinary difference in whatever mental health issue you're struggling with, and that is exercise. And the reason you've got to exercise every day is because what we know about human beings is that when you physically move, your physiology changes, and that changes your brain.
Take the time to rest, because just what if that resting is the key to world-class producing?
Get outside and exercise every single day as if your life depends upon it, because you know what? It does. Your brain needs it, your body needs it, your mental health needs it.
And I feel like if you had heart problems and saw a cardiologist, well, everyone would be concerned about you, would know you're doing better, and it would be open and honest with the crew. But the most complicated organ in your body, if you have a problem with this, suddenly we don't want to talk about that? No, and you can get over it. And that's what people need to realize. You can be cured. You can get past it.
I assure you, the clouds will lift. Right, there is sunlight above the clouds. You're just looking at the clouds right now. And they will lift, and crisis has come to teach you the big lesson you're meant to learn to move to your next level in the next chapter of your greatest life.
This depression will pass. It will go away, and something much better will take its place. But for right now, all that you really need to know is that you have to make it through.
Getting your heart rate up, getting outside, breathing, feeling connected, getting out of your house, which may make you feel depressed and trapped.
The man I am with you right now as I speak with as much authenticity as I know how to share is the result of my times in the valley of darkness.
Doing that every day, that physical push. You don't have to run. You don't have to go to an aerobics class. Get outside with your dog in the woods. Walk with a good friend for 2 or 3 miles. Doing that every single day not only moves your body, which changes your mind, it gets you out of your physical environment, which is one of the things that people with depression tend to have a hard time doing. And it also creates a bit of momentum and a bit of a routine in your life.
Every time I experience a bout of depression, I come out on the other end a different person, doing different things. But it's because I'm aware of what's happening and I'm aware. I want to see the opportunities as they present themselves to me instead of falling into the depths of a spiral down depression because I'm personally identified with what is happening when I'm upset.
And your schedule is not full, and you actually feel like you're wasting your life because you're not this epic producer. What if those times were actually a different form of productivity? What if those times were actually being productive in a different way, where you're actually producing not in the world, but producing within yourself, producing strength, producing new insights, producing new ideas, producing new capabilities, producing new energies, producing new emotions, shifting from fear to love. Because when you go through difficult times, what do you really do? If you feel your fear and your pain, you release it. It's out of your system, and you grow in love and bravery and strength. What does that do to your craft? What does that do to your power? What does that do to your bravery? What does that do to the light that you bring into the world? You become this incredible force that is undefeatable.
I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy. Work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation. Continue to move. Stay busy, stay busy, stay busy.
You are part of a larger cosmos, whether you know it or not. And communing with nature allows you not to see the bars of the prison cell, but the stars of the universe. And if you can connect with those every day, my dear friend, you will use your pain as an instrument for your greatest growth.
Then you try something new. And then you'll also go to school and people will put you down and parents will tell you that you're a failure because you failed at a test. And you start believing the lies around you, saying that you're not good enough and no one's going to want you and you'll never ever do anything good in your life and you'll never ever achieve the dreams and goals that you wish you had done or wish that you could do. And these steps take you closer. That voice saying, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. And all you need is one more step to fall. So you have a choice to know which step you're going to take today.
I want you to know that no matter where you are in life, no matter how low you have sunk, no matter how bleak your situation, this is not the end. This is not the end of your story. This is not the final chapter of your life. I know it may be hard right now, but if you just hang in there, stick it out, stay with me for a little while, you will find that this tough moment will pass. And if you are committed to using this pain, using it to build your character, finding a greater meaning for the pain, you will find that in time, you can turn your life around and help others going through the same struggles. The world right now is in the middle of a mental health crisis. It's estimated almost half the population suffers from depression at some stage throughout their life. Rather than join the queue, it's important we learn why we get down and then how we can change it. Because believe it or not, we create our own negative feelings, and we can also ensure that we turn our lives around and be a positive change for others. The reason anyone gets depressed always comes down to the consistent thoughts we think and the consistent beliefs we hold. Let me say that again. The reason anyone gets depressed always comes down to the consistent thoughts we think and the consistent beliefs we hold. The point here is that anyone that is depressed is so because there is an external factor that didn't materialize in their life. They have lost something outside of their control or don't have something that is out of their control. In school, we are taught how to get a job, but no one teaches us how to live in a state of happiness. No one teaches us how important our conscious and unconscious thoughts and associations are. Is our happiness not worth more than a job? Yes, it is. And before you say happiness won't pay my bills, happiness will pay your bills. When you realize you will be 10 times more energized, focused, and take positive action in your life, when you first choose to develop yourself as a priority and then get to the stuff of the world. I've seen some people who many would consider to have it all in their life because they thought they were not good enough. A thought, a belief within them told them they were not worthy. These people that many were jealous of, many envious of, were not good enough. You must value yourself enough to take the time every single day to work on you, to engage in something that will ensure you are a positive influence on the world. This, of course, doesn't mean life will suddenly be perfect. The same life challenges will show up, but if your mind is strong, if your mind is at peace, your reaction to the challenging times will be very different. Your reaction will be, how can I make this work? Not why is this happening to me? And then others will look to you, not with pity, but with hope. Because your strength will become their hope, their strength. You really can be that powerful. You can ditch the victim story. You can leave the pain behind and focus on how you will react next. How you will react positively. Read all you can read to get your mind in a positive place. Take steps to ensure you will be in a better position next time. Whatever pain you are suffering from, how you can ensure it won't show again. Take little steps, and soon you will be at the top of the staircase. Don't give up. You are worthy. You are more than worthy. You deserve to experience how great life can be, and you owe it to the world to be that positive change for others, to inspire others who will look to you and say, he did it, she did it, and I can do it too.
Value
that was rough.
It was rough. It is rough.
Really
These
good
conversations
message.
aren't easy. It's a little motivation into us all that you do matter, but it has to start with you as well. You got to value yourself. You got to treat yourself with kindness and respect and avoid self-criticism. You have to make time for your hobbies, your favorite projects, broaden your horizons. Do something like a daily crossword puzzle, plant a garden, take dance lessons, learn to play an instrument, become fluent in another language. Do something is what I'm getting at. Stay busy. Keep your mind busy. Keep your mind positive. You know, just the way that they say you are what you eat, but you are what you consume. It's the same way it comes with your mind. Take care of your body. I mean, we all touched about this in our stories. Is change your habits, change your diet, change possibly talk about quitting caffeine, talk about quitting perhaps cigarettes. Obviously, talk to your medical professionals. We're none of us on here are medical professionals, but we can tell you how our stories and how we benefited from seeking that medical attention, from going to these hospitals, from going to these specialists and getting these treatments in. But the biggest thing that we haven't touched, and I'll go around circle, like changing your environment. Shook spoke about that real briefly. Surround yourself with good people. Team Sirius, United Vindication, Club Kiwi, Rage Zone, Galaxy Hound, all great people. Surround yourself with a new circle. Get away from that negativity. Get away from those that same repeat that you keep going into. Shook talked about that, how he would go to the hospital, be good. A week later, he got the Jameson out, and then he was in that cycle. Surround yourself with good people. I'm gonna start with Shook. Oh, it looks like he disappeared. Start and then go over to Flap and then go over to Brosing. Tell me, Shook, you and I had one-on-one conversations about changing your environment and surrounding yourself with good people. Kind of walk us through what you did today to kind of change that environment.
Oh man, that's tough because like I said before, I was used to doing the same thing over and over. So for me, it'd be like, okay, it's, it didn't matter what day of the week it was. It might have been a Tuesday night and be like, okay, let's go out and let's go drink and let's go party or whatever, right? And I'd have work the next day, so I didn't care. I'd go out and drink and have a good time and do it almost every single day. So it got to the point where it was catching up to me in my body. I wasn't getting enough sleep. I wasn't getting enough rest. And, things that I needed to do to take care of my body. Sure as heck was not working out and didn't care for my diet either. So all those things added on to me. So I finally, after, and you mentioned this not so, I got to the hospital. It wasn't like a week later the Jameson came out. It was like maybe within hours or a day later the Jameson came out again. So it wasn't a good decision at all. I mean, eventually I knew something had to change, and that's when I did everything. Okay. So kind of like with that video that was just talking about that last bit, that guy who said, you know, it's your thoughts that kind of make your reality kind of thing. Well, I dug into that a little bit more thanks to Faye. Faye was the one who was coaching me through it because she really believes in that stuff too. And at first I thought, you know, kind of like what he said. He's like, before, happiness isn't going to pay my bills. So yeah, I can be happy all day, but I still need to work. I still need to pay my bills. You know, how's that going to work? I wasn't a very big believer in that. I kind of brushed it aside and I was like, yeah, well, I'll give it a try anyway, just because at this point, modern medicine was not helping me. You know, it was just, it's crazy. You go to the hospital here and they'll tell you, well, you had an anxiety, and then the doctor will be super quick to write you a prescription for these meds that you're like, wow, like it was that easy to get. You know what I mean? And these are the kinds of things that get you addicted to these kinds of the medicines, right? They're strong. And the very first thing I did is I went to the pharmacy and I got it, but I looked at it and I looked at Faye and I was like, I never thought in my life that I would be having to take something like this to help me with my day. And I refused to even take it. So I went home and the first thing I did is I threw it on the table. I was like, I'm not going to take this thing. Like, I refuse. But I found out that not taking it too, you know, it was rough. Like, my days were rough, man. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't function. I'd go to work, barely get there. I don't know how I didn't get in an accident a few times, but I barely get there. And when I got there, I couldn't even sit down because my vertigo was so bad that it felt like I was spinning. So I would stand up, and standing up didn't help either, because then I felt like the world started spinning again. So I'm like, I'm useless here at work. I can't even do anything. So I was like, I have to take a vacation. I have to use vacation time. I have to recover because it's not going to be overnight. So I ended up taking a vacation for about 2 weeks or so, and it didn't help me at all. Like, I was at home just struggling. I was rocking back and forth like a crazy man. It was crazy. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't do anything. Migraines were coming in. This eye strain that was there the entire time. You know, it was horrible. It was really bad. So I had to do something. And I knew from the jump that I loved coffee. I extremely loved coffee, and I hated it, trying to give it up. I refused a lot of times. My body was telling me, dude, you should stop. But like me, I loved coffee. Like, that's my go-to. And knowing that I couldn't have coffee was like the worst thing in my entire life. Like, because as soon as I drank it, it brought everything back. Like, even the lightest sip would bring my anxiety, my panic attack, you know, everything would start racing. And I knew that, you know, I had to change something. I couldn't do the same things over and over. So that's when the whole thing started. Project 2.0. Oh man, that was tough, man. I had to hunker down, and I literally just sat in the room at night, and I thought about, okay, what do I have to change? You know, what do I have to do? And one of the biggest things for me, I won't get into it much, but it was being spiritual. One of the biggest things for me. Spirituality really helped me out. And what that guy in the video said at the end, I had to change my entire routine. So a change of environment. I had to literally stop hanging around the crowd that influenced those easy go-tos, you know, like the easy alcohol, you know, all that kind of stuff. I had to back away from that. And backing away from it was tough because that was my life. They were my friends, you know, that friends sometimes are just as close to you as family. So, you know, you back away from them and you're like, you know, then they're reaching out to you and saying, what's going on? Are you okay? And, you know, they're trying to like, come on over. You know, it's so easy for you to get back into that routine. And that was the toughest part because I really had to just get away from everything. And that meant taking a break from social media, which was tough because, you know, a lot of us live on social media and, you know, some of you guys have some strong meme games and you know, it's kind of tough to get off from that. You know what I mean? So, I had to get off everything. I'd left Facebook, not deleted. I just got it off my phone and the only thing, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I don't really use Twitter, but those Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat were the biggest things in my life. So I deleted them cold turkey. and got away from it. And it took some time because it was it was hard because I deleted it off my phone, but I was like, well, I still got the computer over there, so let me go get on the computer and check my Facebook on it. And even that was hard because I had to like really like discipline myself to get away from it. So I did that too. I had to like step away from my computer for a while, and then just kind of start exercising. That's what helped me is exercise. So my morning routine changed a lot. So I started waking up around 6 a.m. every morning, and then started working out, trying to get a routine going, and then started meditating. I started doing that. And at first it didn't really help me because I wasn't disciplined enough. So I didn't know how to meditate. It was tough starting off, and I would figure like just sit down and start meditating, and my attention would go to something else, and it wasn't productive. It would be like, okay, I'm thinking about my worries, my day, my routine, what do I have to do? And that's not what meditating's about. So that took some time. And then I started developing this new routine where I would work out, meditate, and then start doing things that I needed to do for myself, like reading, and then started doing things like, get to work finally. But those were kinds of things that I had to do to change my environment. And then things after that started to happen. Like I started noticing my health started to come back. I wasn't getting as much anxiety as I used to. I wasn't getting as much panic attacks, and migraines were going away, and things were actually happening for us. Like even with this whole thing, I quit my job and started my own business. Actually, we now have 3 businesses that we run. And because of that, the whole thing that I did, changing my environment, was a big help. And I surrounded myself with people who I got my mentor. So someone who taught me business and how to do things. And I started hanging around those in my type of industry that I started to, just gain knowledge and make them like the people that I want to talk to, because we're both or all of us are on the same track to getting there, So it was a whole different change from being the person who I didn't care about, from working, just 9 to 5, getting by, eventually retiring at age 65 or whatever. When you get there, if you're healthy enough to walk by then, you start enjoying the fruits of your labor. Like I was like, that's not me. Like I got to change something in my life. I have to do something quick. And if I want to live the life that I want to live, then I'm not going to do it by partying. I'm not going to do it by drinking every day. I'm not going to do it I don't even know if I'll live, because of this anxiety is killing me. Like literally it's taking a toll on my body. So like that whole change of environment was key for me and for my recovery. And I can't recommend it enough for people, because all that video that you guys just watched, that's exactly the types of things that I would watch every day and practice. And we practice that every day. So to be grateful for what you have at this current moment, like a lot of people wake up and they think about, either they look at their phone and they look at their Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, emails, work, whatever it may be. They do the same routine every morning, and they wake up and that's what they think about, immediately into work mode or into stress mode or into anxiety mode or into worry mode. And that's how they get up. And that's why their body's so like, it starts taking a toll on them, because they get anxiety. So rather than being that, I said, okay, I'm not going to let my phone control me, because that's what I would do. And so I put my phone in a different room at night and then go to sleep. And then when I wake up, I'd have that feeling like, oh, I got to check my phone. What if someone messaged me? What if this, whatever, right? I wanted to reaffirm the person who I was before, but I was like, no, I'm not going to let my phone have so much control over me. So I'm going to go ahead and do something else. I'm going to go meditate, or I'm going to go work out, or I'm going to do this. And at 8 a.m. is when I'm going to check my phone, because my phone does not control me. I control my life. So then that's when I started changing everything. And so now I have a strict rule where like at certain times of the day, I'm done with work and I don't check it no matter what. Or I'm done with whatever task I'm doing. It's very time blocked. So my schedule is like super important to me, because I time block everything. Time management's very important to me. At certain time of the day, it's where I spend time with Faye, my girlfriend, or my family who's over right now. And we have family night and I don't check anything. So yeah, I talk about change of environment. It's change of routine, change of thoughts, change of everything, literally. So it was a tough time for me to do. It was very tough because I'm very technology driven, kind of like Natso is, but not as good as him. But I do, I came from a strong IT background, and that's what I did. So a lot of the stuff I was involved with, you know, technology, and having that cut off from my life was tough at first. It was really tough, but it took me about 2 or 3 months later to finally get that routine going, and all this stuff that I used to have, I don't have anymore. And I live such a much better life with lots of blessings, living in gratitude. Once you start learning that part, guys, if you start learning to live in gratitude, things will change for you dramatically, instead of living in the same personal reality that you live in at this current moment. Practice gratitude and things will happen for you.
I think I'm going to need you to help me make a schedule for my days. So the whole changing the environment and taking care of yourself is something I still need to do. As you can probably tell, I rock the disheveled look because what's the point? I have a terrible eating habit. I overeat, and then there'll be days where I go 2-3 days without eating. I do drink water. I got that going for me, so that's pretty good. I don't exercise anymore, you know, other than my day at work, which, you know, is pretty hard, but I don't get out and ride my bike anymore. I used to be a rock climber as well. I don't do that. And since having stopped all of that, my mental health has definitely been on the downslope. Partly because I don't see most of my friends anymore, because the friends I had were the friends I did those activities with. But I do have a fantastic group of friends that I do talk to daily. You'll know who you are. I'm not going to say names because
thanks.
I don't want to exclude Brosine because he hates me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks.
And as most of you probably know, I don't fucking sleep. I got that not so sleep pattern, but that's that's something I've been struggling with since I was a child. I never slept as a child. Nowadays I get 3, maybe 4 hours sleep, and that's a good night's sleep for me. So that sort of stuff really does affect not only your health but your mental health as well. Sorry, I got a bit of frog in my throat because of Shook's story. Yeah, don't get haircuts. But terrible. So I can attest to it being one of the most important things you can do is take care of just the basic necessities. Will have a massive impact on you.
I totally agree with that last part, Flab. I think just trimming your beard up can go such a long way from making you look like a proverbial bum to, okay, I'm doing something today. I'm ready for the day. You know, I always try and at least trim my beard up before I go outside or something, just so I feel a little bit better about myself. There was a lot in that video that I wanted to talk about. I was trying to figure out where I should really start, but people in social media, or people in the chat, were bringing up social media, and I'm totally turning into that old guy that talks about social media. I know where I'm going in life with that, but I feel like, especially for content creators, social media, when people say, oh, you just got to get off social media, that's not an option if you're a content creator. But I think what a lot of people, they stop there. They stop at, well, that's not an option for me. But what you can really do as a content creator or someone who doesn't want to give up social media is you could at least understand or learn how to accept what social media does to your mental, and then kind of overcome those feelings. You know, a big thing that I would say, to be honest here, is a lot of people probably struggle with social validation when they post something on social media. Okay, you get really hyped up, you think you have something great, you post it, you get like 2 likes, and you think that what you did is bad or not as good as something else that was the equivalent that has thousands of likes or went viral or something. We compare ourselves to that, and that is a self-esteem crusher. and I know most of my stuff is related to content creation, but that's where I feel like those people get hit the hardest in social media, because sometimes those people are spending hours in apps that they don't know how to use to create something that means a lot to them, for it to just get fully overlooked, and it can hurt, but the example I wanted to bring up is, posts. I bring up photos on my personal Instagram of Jace and myself, and I love posting them. And sometimes they don't hit on social media. Okay, bad timing, blah blah blah. And it's sometimes it would get to me like, oh man, I thought this was so funny. Nobody thought it was funny. But then I think about how 10 years from now, Jace will get to see that photo. And what Jace gets to see means so much more than what anybody says about that photo right now. Just the fact that he'll get to see that photo and like, dude, when you were little, I thought this was so funny, man. It'll be so cool and so much more worth it to me. And that like kind of takes me to my next point. There's my cat wanted to say hi. Sorry. Sorry for the interruption. Is social validation is can get really addicting, but a long-term goal, of seeing like the results long-term, in my case, Jace being excited over something I thought was hype 10 years ago. Those are the kind of things in the video. It said like the consistent thoughts that you have every day will impact your mental. I've moved away from, I hope that this YouTube video I created goes viral and I make it. I want my kid to look at that one day and go, hold on. That was you, Dad? You made that? And that video is 15 years old now, but I saved it for him. Those are the kind of things long-term that I've been using to kind of boost my self-esteem, so that social media doesn't get to me, because we don't all have to be viral to be valid, I guess you could say. We don't have to be famous to produce great content or great moments. And we don't have to feel bad about those moments just because they don't have a million likes on them. So I think social media really has a big impact on today's culture. And certainly so with the pandemic. And I'm speaking more from the US. I can't speak of what's going on in other countries. I just don't know it well enough in terms of lockdown. But, that video was mainly aimed at depression. It's very hard to get out and do something. If I want to go with Brittany, my girlfriend, to, a burger joint down the road, we really can't. Brittany is part of a clinic here. She is in the hot zone of COVID patients. We have to keep that mentality that, if the virus were to be in our household, we are the people spreading it outside. So it's like a doubly conscious thing for people in the medical field, not taking that away from anyone else, but it can really get to you. You feel clammed up. You order out all the time. The next thing you're like, oh man, we're ordering out all the time. We need to start cooking from home. Well, then you're ordering groceries. You're not going to the grocery store. So you're like always in your home, 24/7. And I work in a basement with fluorescent lighting. So the day night cycle does not affect me. I go downstairs and it's light out. I come upstairs and it's dark out, and I don't feel that. My brain doesn't shut down anymore because I'm always in fluorescent lighting. So I really think the pandemic can really affect that depression and really kind of aid that. It's definitely a very difficult time to be in this scenario. But what that video said too is about speaking to people, talking to people. That's all we really have at this point in the US is making sure we have those connections and getting our voices heard and talking about when you're not having a bad day, or, thank God for Discord and our friends on the internet to be able to have some kind of social bonding, especially in those states and cities that may be going on a lockdown. That can be very tough. And the last thing I want to talk about was cutting out friends and such. I think that's like the toughest thing that could be to start. That is the absolute most difficult thing to do, because sometimes those friends aren't even negative. It's not always that group is doing something wrong. It just might mean they don't align with your goals. They're perfectly good people. If you want to make a change and like you can't game till 2 a.m., but you enjoy those people that you're always gaming with at night, eventually you'll probably lose touch in some regard with those friends. They didn't do anything wrong. You don't hate them, but your mental and your personal off-screen goals should take precedence. If it's making you feel better, if the exercise or the new activities that you're getting off the internet early for, make you feel better, it is totally worth it. And the real people will stick around. They'll be there in your chats and your friends. I'm giving examples from my personal life. When I gave up streaming, I didn't really kind of lost touch with a lot of people. Like to this day, I don't talk to as many people as I did because they've all moved on. They're in their own little stream groups or video game groups and clans and stuff. But there's a few people that have kind of hung out with me or they'll check in and they know that, I'm not about streaming as much anymore or playing games all night. I'm a dad, I'm a dad and I go do stuff outside and I hang out in the Discord. Those are the people that will stick around in your life. I guess this is like a personal example. When you do remove those people, you will find people from those groups. It may not be the whole group, but they'll stick with you. It's not like you're just cutting everybody off, and it's okay to let those people go because overall you'll have a better mental. I hope that made sense. I started to teeter there at the end, but I hope everyone got my point.
No, everybody brings up valid points, and I know what you're talking about, Brosy. And take the time to every time you start streaming, you got a message from me. You good?
Mm-hmm.
You need something? Can I help you with something? I know one of the biggest things, and my bad if I'm sharing too much here about our DMs there, Brosy, but I know that the fear that you had becoming a dad, you reached out to me. One of those DMs,
yeah.
and you kind of wanted to get my intake since I have 4 children, 3 of them are teenagers, and we just those relationships that we have built that are above gaming now. Like now it's like, no, we're not, now we're brothers. Like you call me, you text me, you do whatever you do, but I'm gonna check up on you.
Right.
If anything, to let you know that I'm around if you need me, even if it's like for the dumbest thing that you can think of, like, hey dude, like we started with Zeta. A lot of us remember Zeta, right? That's a guy that kind of went and did his own thing, but the pancakes and waffles thing started with him and I just joking to start a conversation. And that just kind of took on, and now everybody uses everywhere, but that was like a Zeta and me thing. Because I always say, hey, pancakes or waffles, because that's how I always start a conversation with him. Because it's not always direct with him. Like you can say you're good, but he's not gonna kind of like open up. But if I say something funny and make him laugh, then he starts telling me, well, I'm not really that good. And that's how you start getting these conversations and you start understanding these people. And anybody that knows me, like my persona, just like Brosy, just like Flab, just like Shug, that's just my online. But I'm, when I come online is really to kind of disconnect from real life. I preach that a lot through my streams. I've been streaming since 2013, in and out. It's a hobby for me. It's something I did really, honestly, not even gonna lie to you, just to get drunk and play games and meet new people. And I met a lot of fantastic people. A lot of you have been there when I've actually been, I should have probably cut off the stream. That's how drunk I was. But what I'm getting at is that was my escape from my reality, from my anxiety, from my that is a coping mechanism that I built, is to get on these streams, is to play games, is to establish. And a lot of you don't know that Team Series has been around for a long time. And it started as a local Dallas thing. And it's been around for a very long time. Now, our online footprint has changed a lot. Our domain name, we're about to celebrate 10 years coming up in 2021 with the website, the domain name, and everything else. But it started as a very local Dallas, Texas community where before all Discord, before TeamSpeak, before Ventrilo, before Roger Wilco, damn, I'm old. Before all that, where you can just jump on a voice chat with anybody else, before cell phones, there were LAN parties. I've been on the PC Master Race for frickin' ever. And there used to be a lot of localized events. QuakeCon is from Texas. QuakeCon, there used to be Tangoland, the CPL, the very first esports league, was in Dallas, Texas. And we were all Counter-Strike players. We all try to pitch to get into the pro segment and everything else. Vicious Dave is a part of that group too. Vicious Dave has been with us very long time. And that's where Team Serious actually started, is that connection to have gaming buddies, is to grow up and say, hey, you good, without actually saying it. Because we all went through our lifespan. We all went through our hardships. We all went through our lives, but we wanted to let you know that the whole time we had your six. And then it evolved. We started growing. We went from, we were in high school, we went into college, we went into military services, and the generations kept changing. Shook us from a different generation where he kind of took up the slack when most of us went to college and most of us went into the military service. And then they brought Shook's generation in and kind of changed that vibe. And then TeamSpeak is now a thing. We're a big TeamSpeak group. Come out of service, and I said to Shook and to the other remaining people that are on there, amazing, and there's a bunch of people, to say, let's build a website against it and let's tell people about our community. This is a very long time ago when I pulled the website up. Teamseries.org was the first domain name we owned. And it's like, we want to create this chill back gaming zone where if you'd like to be competitive, you can be competitive. But you don't have to. What we're trying to build is a family. And then we started, what was it, Shook? Almost 10 years ago, we started the annual Team Serious potlucks with people that lived around the DFW.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that said, why is it named Team Serious DFW? DFW stands for Dallas Fort Worth. And we started it, and it really was to continue that routine. But now we're married. Now we have, most of it had kids. Like I had my kids, and Ramezi has his kids, and so on and so forth. Now we're teaching our next generation with our kids about keeping these type of gaming community organizations, communities, and things like that, and kind of passing the torch on to later on. You might be the one running. You might be the next admin. You might branch off and create, there's discussions under order, but splitting up the esports games into specific discords, where if you're all about Rainbow Six Siege, you'll have a Discord just solely based on Rainbow Six Siege and things like that. But that's directions we'll talk about it later. But like my kids are big into Rainbow Six Siege, big into Counter-Strike, Go, Global Offensive. And they're kind of picking up where we left off, but continue on these traditions where, you reach out to your fellow gamer left to the right of you and you say, hey man, you good? You want to catch, or our saying is, you want to catch a bullet? And kind of go through that process of having them disconnect, and then you start finding out, hey dude, my so-and-so passed away, or COVID is really kicking my butt. My anxiety's through the roof. I'm getting into depression. I'm now taking meds, things of that sort. And that's when you really start finding out that these groups need us to do the same for them and just be there for them to listen. But at the end of the day, we're not professionals. At the end of the day, we'll listen to your story. I will listen to you until you turn blue in your face and you're done talking and you have nothing else to talk about. But then I'm going to direct you to somebody that can help you. I'm going to direct you to our organization. I'm going to direct you to somebody that can do more than I can do. I can listen, but let's go ahead and you know what I'm saying? I'll take you by the arm, but we're going to go get help together. We're going to be that NCO that's going to point you to those resources and to those personnel that you need to talk to. But at the end of the day, it's up to you and it comes from you. So one of the things that I'm going to link in the chat is stress. We have to learn how to deal with stress, because everything kind of combines. Everything kind of goes into an avalanche, right? You have anxiety, which builds stress. You haven't slept, which builds insomnia, which brings on migraines and everything else. So I went ahead and linked some real quick 1 minute stress strategies you can do to kind of release tension. Has involved a lot of breathing and trying to attempt to relax. It has to do a lot of breathing exercises that I would like the chat to at least be knowledgeable in, how you can kind of take a minute and just kind of release the tension and kind of de-stress and tell yourself, you have to, kind of going back to a lot of the coping mechanisms that I've learned, because I'm a caregiver for my wife for PTSD. Of those coping mechanisms that you have to learn, you have to build, you have to say 3 good things about yourself that you like about yourself. And at the end, I need you to tell yourself, I am enough. And that might be hard to shoot out. It might be hard to say it. But I need you to understand, if you're going to leave anything from today, is that you are enough. And the world is better with you in it. And as cold as it sounds, funerals are for the living. As cold as that sounds, and I need that to resonate. It's for us to remember your life. Don't put us in that situation. Because I'd rather have you in it, and I'd rather be catching a bullet with you and having a good time and create a new memory than to not be able to do that anymore. The next segment is quiet your mind. Try meditating, going back to Shook's things. If you're spiritual, try prayer. You know, and I will let y'all choose that because I'm not very religious myself, but learn exercises that'll help you relax. Get into different therapies. There's aromatherapy. There's therapies that involve all kinds of different things. Go out there and search for those therapies. Set realistic goals. Shook has time management. Decide like what you want to achieve, like if it's academically or professionally or personally. Say that you set a realistic goal that, you know, in 2 weeks I want to lose 5 pounds. Because stay active, stay busy. One of the biggest things that I've always told my wife is, the way her mental health is she needs to stay active. She needs to stay busy. One point I had her work. She was working on her degree. She finally had quit her job. I said, just focus on school. She came back and she was working on a degree, but that a lot of that offline time, off time, all she would do is kind of stay in that circle of those bad thoughts, those memories, those things that keep repeating. And she is not good mentally to be a housewife. And I said, no, stop. I need you to stop what you're doing. I said, let's go find you employment. Let's go find you something to do. Volunteer somewhere. Volunteer time to an organization. Do something with you. Don't just sit in your room and self-loathe. Don't just sit there and let your mind consume you, especially with negative thoughts. You are what you consume. Also consume those positive things. Read about positive things. Do positive things, and your life can and will change. There's a lot of times that we say avoid alcohol, avoid drugs, unless you were prescribed those drugs. I'm not telling you to stop taking your pills. Believe me, I'm not. If you were prescribed something, please continue taking it the way it was prescribed. Go talk to your doctor if it makes you feel a certain type of way. Maybe they need to change a prescription. Maybe they need to try something else for you. For me, I'm on the same page as Shook. I said, what can I do before I start taking these pills? Like, pills for me were last resort. What can I do naturally, safely, to be able to get rid of my anxiety, to control my stress? And the first underlying thing that anybody will ever say, it's exercise. That's the first thing anybody would say. Yeah, I mean, bros, and you can speak better on that. How many times where you're like, I gotta pick something heavy up and put it back down?
Yeah, I think for stress and just overall mental health, when they were talking about exercise in that first video, you know, it can be anything too. It doesn't have to be a Instagram bod workout or a 2-hour grueling power lift session. Sometimes I just take my kid out on the wagon and go around the block twice, and just the fresh air and getting out of the house and getting my heart rate going is enough to give me a boost, you know? So if you're thinking about using exercise, or if you don't exercise and you're wanting to try that, you don't have to get a gym membership. You don't have to go all out. Just do 10 push-ups, see how you feel. Do them for fun. Do something that I would definitely recommend that point. Make sure you're going to enjoy it. You know, don't feel like you got to go run 10 miles to count as exercise and you get shin splints. Just around the block. You know, I go on the treadmill and I watch Hulu sometimes. That is my workout that day, because I like walking on the treadmill while I'm on TV, or it helps me not feel lazy. You know, it like opens my mind up and kind of takes me away from sitting on my computer, and I de-stress and watch my favorite show.
And one of the last points I want to say is get help when you need it. And I know several of you said it in the chat. Several of you have said it during this whole segment since we started the event. Seeking help is a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. And remember, and the several podcasts, several different streamers that already said it. If you don't like that specific doctor and what they're trying to do, go get a second, third, fourth, fifth opinion. Go look for another specialist. Go do a therapy or a treatment that's more related to what you feel your body goes to, because you know your body. You know your point. You know how far you can go with your body. You're going to be the one that's in control, not the doctor. The doctor can say 1,000 things, but if step 1 hurts, then stop. But at the same time,
okay to disagree with them. What Sage said exactly. Yeah, that's a great point.
Perfectly great to disagree with them. And you're right. They went to school for it, but it doesn't mean they're using the right treatment for you and your body style, for you and your background. So how many times I've had friends say that I went to the doctor, but I didn't like him, and then I stopped. Don't do that. Go find the person that will listen to you, to actually hear you say what you're feeling and what pain you're going through, and then give you the options of what type of treatment you can go under. Because a lot of us, like me, I'm not about them pill lives. Them things make me feel like a zombie. I'm just not. So I'd rather go pick up something heavy and put it down a couple of times, or I'd rather go run, or I'd rather go on a long walk, or I'd rather go on a hike. I used to go hiking all the time before my damn back is messed up. I had 3 slip discs in my back, so I can't do as much as I used to and how much I wanted to do. But I used to be very freaking active. I'm fat now, but I used to be very freaking active as hell.
Same.
And I used to love to go hiking. Hiking was such a de-stressor. That fresh air, those views, I mean, they were freaking beautiful stuff, you know.
There's some doctors too, that if you don't say anything, they don't know any better, and they'll just recommend the community average, or for lack of a better term. Personal case in point, not entirely related to mental health, but for my heart and blood pressure, there's a blood pressure medication that has been in my family that it just causes rapid weight loss, whatever the effects are of it. And I told my doctor, I go, look, man, I know this is like the one that everyone's supposed to be on when your heart's like mine. I don't want to be on that. I don't want to become this like gaunt human being. I'm exaggerating there, but that's how I felt when I saw the effects of it. So because I told him that I was scared of, losing all this weight and becoming that kind of person, he found an alternative for me. There's like a very minimal side effect. It doesn't make me feel horrible or anything. It's just a lesser dose. And he goes, okay, well, I'll give you this one, but you're going to have to exercise with this one more. And my blood pressure is great now. And it's because I asked for that alternative and I expressed it to the right doctor that he went the extra step to make those changes and include my personal recommendations. They do exist. That's my point. They're out there. Shop around.
In a similar vein to what Notso said, find a doctor that does work for you. It's also the same with the drugs. If you are medicated instead of therapies and such, and you try one, it doesn't agree with you, they're not all the same. I've been through probably 6 different antidepressants, and I finally found one that works for me. And like the first 3, I think, made me a zombie. I was dead on the outside. So stick with it. Find the one that
Probably
works
the best
for you.
advice I could give too, because some of the things that they go for automatically is the top brands, if you want to call it that, the ones that they see like the first top 5 or whatever they are. They're all damn. They made me feel a zombie, make me feel awkward, and I don't want to feel like that. So then I went to my doctor and I changed doctors. That's what I keep saying. Is I found another doctor and he's like, they put, the VA put me on this. He's like, why did they do that? When he said that, you know how glad I felt? Because I'm sitting here thinking that, these are medical professionals. I'm entrusting my life with them. And when I gave him the sheet of the things that they wanted me to take, he's like, why did they do that? He's like, no. We're going to take you off of all that. You know how glad I felt? And then he said, you know what? He's like, I want you to be okay with it first, but how comfortable are you with the natural approach? And I'm like, it blew my mind. I was like, this is the doctor that I've been looking for. Because everybody else is like, oh, here's a prescription, here you go away. That's the VA's approach. And granted, it's free medical for me. But I went and got a private doctor when he said, dude, do not take any of those. That is for this, that, and the other. You don't even have that. You have anxiety. And then we went through treatment and everything else. He's like, I'm going to start you off with a really small dose, but it's mainly to help you sleep. He said, we need to go through the root cause. He's like, what's causing everything is you not sleeping. And that blew my mind. He's like, everything is in avalanche. He's like, you don't sleep, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and this happens. He's like, and then I'm going to recommend you. And one of my friends, he's like, it's a chiropractor. I need you to go see him. Then I started getting weekly adjustments, started taking the really small dosage of what he had for anxiety, but it was more of a sedative. He's like, you need to sleep. And I said, I can't stress enough. Stay active. I don't care if you just go fishing for 45 minutes. I was like, I need you to walk for 45 minutes. I need you to take your kids to the playground for 45 minutes. I need you to move. I need you to keep moving. And that's a doctor that I would say that I thank to this day, because the only thing the VA was trying to do is give me more pills and kind of brush me aside, kind of like an express checkout, so to speak. Hey, your bullet word looks fine. Oh, I see you have anxiety. Might lead to depression. Here's some depression pills. I'm like, I don't have depression. It's like, I bet it might lead to it. So here, take these pills. I mean, that felt cold. I felt like I wasn't being listened to, but I didn't give up. I'm going to play us another little video real quick.
Good morning.
Hey, Ricky. Yeah. I like Ricky. Oh, what's up, man?
Good morning. Good morning. Good night.
Hey, I just want to let you know that Ricky took his life last night.
Depression isn't always obvious. That was the name of that video. And how many of us can connect to that routine that we keep doing, that self-closure we keep talking about, that endless loop we keep putting ourselves through? I can't say it enough. Everybody's kind of touched on it to kind of say that you have to change your environment. You have to change your habits. You can tell that you thought that the video was about him and ended up being about a guy that was basically doing the same thing he was doing, but he had enough. When is enough enough? And when are you going to finally say, I'm actually not good? And who are you going to reach out to? Because you can always call me. You can always text me. You can always DM me. You need me to jump in a voice chat with you and just be there for you, just to talk. Even if it is like us dudes like to just like play around the subject and just talk, whatever bullshit on a voice chat and then game, that is more than enough therapy than a lot of us get sometimes. Go ahead and play one more.
listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
A lot of the time it does start with awkward silences.
That one really resonated with me with I won't dive into the personal details, but sometimes it's like, you know, some people may never respond to you when you reach out, but they'll be glad that you reached out. They'll be glad at least someone said, "Hey, how you doing, man? What's been going on?" Or, "Hey, caught you doing this on social media. Wow, that's awesome." You might never get a response, but it without I don't want to expose the details of the person, but it does mean stuff to people, even if they're not saying. I can attest to that. They didn't feel comfortable responding, but they always appreciated that, and I found that out much later in life. But it's definitely worth it if you ever think somebody's going through something to at least start a conversation or attempt to start a conversation.
I agree. It's one of the best things you can do for a friend.
So I kind of want to go around the table and ask, how do you reach out? I'll start with Brosy and then go to Flap and then go to Shook. How do you reach out to anyone in need, or how would you like the approach? How to, like those DMs. Like I always ask, my number one go-to thing is "You good?" ? That's what I usually say. You good? But what is a way that you do to reach out?
I really look to try and kind of identify how that person likes to communicate before I reach out, because not everybody will just respond to and this is my experience, just going, "Hey man, what's up?" It's like flat. But some people like myself use humor as an icebreaker, humor as a defense, crack the ice or steer around subjects. And this really kind of stirred a thought in my head when you brought up Zeta and pancakes and waffles. Some people just open up more to certain types of communication than others. And I kind of have that generalization for all of my friends, including you guys. I kind of know how to talk to them. I would never talk to Flap the same way I talk to Not-So, just the way that you communicate with people normally, in a good way, Flap. Always positive. But, when I'm approaching someone to kind of make sure they're all right, it may not be, "Hey, man, are you all right?" It may just be a general conversation. Like, I'll just use Xandler, and it's not Xandler. It's just a person I made up. "Dude, did you catch the Bears game?" That's it. That is all I'm talking about is the Bears game. And it's just we're talking about the Bears game. We're not talking about your personal life. We're not talking about personal details. Just, did you watch the Bears game? And we talk about the Bears game for a bit, and I kind of gauge, if I think they're really going through something, maybe I'll dive into something. Just be like, "Hey, dude, I noticed this." But in general, those are like my way to make it more casual without feeling like I'm trying to get into their personal life. Just relate to them and talk about something of common interest to kind of gauge their mental state.
I'm not quite as I'm quite blunt. I go in with the "What's wrong? What are we doing about this guy?"
Yeah, confirm.
And then if they don't want to talk about it, I have a way of pressuring people into talking about it. I probably shouldn't do it that way, but it's always worked in the past. I know it's not right for everyone, but fuck you, tell me what's wrong.
And if you're offended, it's your fault.
Okay, so just learned a lot from you guys and kind of how you guys reach out or listen to other people and try to help them out. Flaps was very helpful, by the way. But for me, it's more like I never discredit anyone based on anything, age or gender, whatever it may be. I listen to everybody. It doesn't matter how old you are, or how I should have more knowledge than you because I'm older, or less knowledge from you because you're older than me. But for me, it'd be more like when I'm listening to someone, like I just ask questions, man. That's all I do is exactly what I do when I in my profession. So I'm in real estate for some of you guys who don't know. So I help out people with real life problems. I'm not saying that anybody here doesn't have real life problems, but I'm saying that these people here, they're probably at one of their lowest points in their lives at the moment when they're trying to sell their house, because it's not like, for example, most of the houses that I deal with, the people who are trying to sell their house, they're not up to standards, to 2020 standards. So they can't put it out on the retail market because no one's going to buy their house, right? And people who are buying out in the retail market, they just want to buy it and move in. They don't want to fix everything that's wrong with it. Flap knows. Flap just fixed his house. So, a lot of them are also may have problems with, they just lost their job, so they can't keep up with the payments. So who's going to help them on how to sell their house, or who's going to buy it? And they have problems on top of that. They're distressed situations. So I ask questions to try to find out what's the best way I can service these people. How can I service people? That's my train of thought. That's how I look at things at from now on. That's my perspective. If I'm sitting here talking with Brosine, I'm be like, Brosine, what can I do for you? How can I add value to your life? Okay, I'm here to serve you. And that's our conversation, is how can I help you? So that's exactly what I do with people who I'm listening to daily. Like just the other day, I had a person who went through a loss. They lost their parent inside the house. So it's very emotional to sell a house when you've lost someone, especially a family member like your father, right? They passed away at the house. So now you're trying to cope with that, but at the same time, you still live in that house. So think about how hard that may be for that person, right? You have to be able to relate to them. You have to be able to say, okay, well, here's how I can help you. But at the same time, you have to make sure you don't step on anybody's toes, right? It's a sensitive conversation. It's very emotional. So for me to be able to know exactly what's wrong, I have to ask questions, but I just don't ask well, how did it happen? That's kind of offensive. You don't ask someone how someone died, right? You just have to it's tough, but it's taught me a lot. So for me, my conversation with you may be something different. I listen to the conversation that you're having with me. It may not be like I'm asking you directly, but I listen to key words that people say. Like sometimes someone might joke around and say, man, the other day I had a rough day, blah, blah, blah. And there's keywords in their sentences that they'll use. And then I'll start kind of drawing up my questions based on what they said. Okay, so you had a bad day. How'd that make you feel? And then they start talking, right? Like, oh, well, man, I felt this way. I felt this way. Okay, well, it must be very frustrating. There's something that you're doing. I'm just basing it off of that conversation. Then I start getting into it. And you'll be amazed on how people just start opening up to you just because you're listening to them. And that goes a long way there. And that's why, it's a very useful skill to have in life when you want to help people out and figure out their problem. Because once you know how to help people out, people will just come to you, and you'll start being able to help out other people, and you're servicing a lot of people now. You're not just thinking about yourself, you're helping others. You're being selfless. And then things, again, I can't stress that enough to you guys. Living in gratefulness will change everything. And once you start looking at life from a different perspective, then instead of what the world can provide for you, you ask yourself, what can you provide to the world? And things will start happening differently for you. Change your perspective, and a lot of things will start happening, and you'll notice a lot of things going on in your journey.
True words. And I've had several conversations with Shook one-on-one, describing how he changed his lifestyle and what kind of approach we're going to take and what direction and how roadmap looks for Team Serious, always remembering hashtag staying humble, and approaching it at in a different angle, because while our roots are an organization and a community, our main focus is the esports world and an esports league with a lot of the esports games. Just to name a few: Siege, Rocket League, Overwatch, Counter-Strike, so on and so forth. Most of you guys are familiar with our tournaments and the type of leagues and stuff we run. But we never forget also to have an outreach program to give back, because that's a big thing that at the top exists. Not only with Shug, but with Hello Jimmy, with Ramazy. Everybody is on the same page is we're thankful for what we got, but how do we give back? That's why when Tombstone approached us about starting another mental health stream, we didn't even bat an eye. We were like, we're in. What do you need from us? Shook jumped up and said, hey, let's run a marketing strategy. Let's run marketing campaigns. Let's get materials together. Let's figure out how we can align with what we're trying to promote and better engage our audience. And I told him our past stories because we ran this event 3 years ago with GST. But at that time, we were only thinking about helping, whoever we help, but it was such a small scale. Not to give out that the people that went and got help were any different, but we also didn't build any analytics behind it. We didn't build a continuing outreach program. We didn't build a form of information. Now we have information channels, websites. Sage Rage has been keeping up with a lot of the packets and everything else that we built to kind of continue that going, and then kind of make it like a yearly reoccurring event at minimum, to be able to kind of say, hey, the gaming organizations, the gaming communities are putting another mental health awareness event together. And they're doing it bigger, and now they have more backing by organizations like Wounded Warrior Project and things of that sort to kind of scale it, but also to come back and tie it all back together. It isn't just about running these on Twitch channels. It's about bringing and linking all these communities back to their roots, to the gaming organization. Because even us, when we go and we talk to other organizations, and Shook might be able to talk about this a little bit more, is the organizations we're working on behind closed doors, there is already a stigma built in where you can't really reach out to other organizations without them either automatically saying no or building that rapport. They're saying, well, we really don't want to get involved. Like, it's cool, we run siege tournaments and we've known for siege tournaments, but we really don't want to get outside the box. Remember, Shook, when we started building these projects and engaging all these other communities, even before mental health, how many no's we got?
Yeah, that was me. So for some of you guys who don't know what I do in Team Serious other than the CEO, right? I'm in charge of marketing, not just marketing, but more like spreading the word for our business on the business side, right? So I deal with a lot of other outreach, I guess you can say, and try to get more of a sales type of thing is what I do. So I'm reaching out to different communities to see how we can best collaborate with anybody who's out in the esports competitive scene to try to see if we can work something. But a lot of the people that I've reached out, and I've reached out to more than, I don't know, at this point, more than 100 communities, I guess. And it's been a process. I mean, I do it all the time. It's kind of like cold calling, but you just have to know what to say, what to do. And it's something I'm good at, and that's what I do. So I've reached out to a lot of them, and probably about 98% of them said no to me. So it just goes to show that the gaming industry, when it comes to collaboration or communities, they're just so wrapped up in their own world that they don't want to get out of their comfort zone. So like, even though there was an incentive when it comes to money, like they would make money off of it, they would still tell me no. So I'm not sure where that all comes from. Like, if I provide you a platform and all you have to do is bring your people and everybody makes money, why not, right? But those people, they don't want to. And so it's been very frustrating to find people who have the same mindset and the same goals that we have. And we've found one or two communities, and we'll be promoting them pretty soon. But that's some of the things that we work on the back end. So rest assured that we're all working really hard to try to make things happen. But it's just finding the right communities to work with.
A lot of the times that's what we're trying to find is that connection, like like when we spoke about the veteran connection, that veteran bridge that we establish automatically, knowing that you served in your own way, in your own time. And that's exactly what we're trying to establish with these gaming organizations and gaming communities, is to build that next outreach program, because it doesn't stop here. And that's something that even United Vindication's on the same page. It doesn't stop here for the mental health organization and mental health awareness in general. What we're trying to do now is collaborate with these organizations to build a bigger network with organizations like Wounded Warrior, maybe even the Military Gaming League, and things of that sort, to kind of combine everything and have an information, a one-stop shop for even gamers to have a way to understand that if you're having trouble, we built this nice little information packet where you can reach out to any of these giving organizations within the gaming communities and get help now. Because the last thing we want to see or hear or do is that you're no longer with us, in the sense that we had to, bury you. Because if you're no longer with us because you left the Discord, well, that's a different thing, right? That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about having an ongoing outreach program and having a really established connection and point of contact, so to speak, for these gaming organizations to go moving forward. That, we've already broken the stigma, but how do we continue having these conversations when we're not hosting an event? Because people are still getting into anxiety, people are still getting into depression, people are still in PTSD. But how do we continue having these conversations behind closed doors and have an active information panel for somebody in case they finally say, I need help? All I got to say is I got a link for you, and here's the website. And you can talk to me, or you can talk to so-and-so and so-and-so, and we can get you started on the correct path. Because the last thing we want to see is like I said, I want to continue playing games with y'all, and last thing I want to see is you never come back on your Steam profile, and then we find out through the grapevine that you couldn't hack it anymore, or what have you, or say whatever you need to say here, and we can't catch that bullet no more. Go ahead and play a video real fast. Give me a second. Oh, I can pause. There it is.
I was born in a thunderstorm. I grew up overnight. I played alone, I played on my own. I survived. I survived. I'm still breathing. I'm still breathing. I'm still breathing. I'm still breathing. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm still breathing. I'm still breathing. I'm still breathing. I'm still breathing. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive.
It's called Shadow the Stigma of Mental Health, and it was a campaign run by a specific organization. And I thought it was a good ending piece to the podcast to at least play that if I'm going to be fighting, you're going to be right next to me, and you're not going to be alone. We're going to be fighting it together, and we're going to kick whatever issue is right in the ass. And I got your 6. You can always remember that. You can always reach out to us. teamseriousdfw.com/podcasts. This will be an audio only podcast later on. So if you want to revisit it, there will also be a VOD on our YouTube channel. We're going to go around the room. Final thoughts, where we can find you at. I'm going to start off with Shook, go to Flap, and then go to Brosine. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be working on and your ending thoughts on this mental health event. I appreciate everybody being here today.
Hey guys, just wanted to reach out again and say, if anything, this whole campaign that we've been running on mental health, we put this out here to try to help out people who are in similar situations that we may have been, no matter what story you listen to, whether it's Flaps or Brosines or, whoever else was on here that actually did also speak. And even if we don't get, that many as what we expected, as long as we made a difference in one person's lives, then that's good enough for us. So if for whatever reason you feel like you may want to, you related with someone's story throughout this whole campaign, reach out to us. I mean, we're here for you guys. I may have not gone through some of the things that some of my other, people here went through, right? But, I did go through my own battles, and, I'm always here to help people. So if there's something that resonated with you today, get on Discord and I'll be happy to jump on with you guys or whoever, may be listening. And I'll tell you how exactly I went through it. And I'll tell you step by step how I'm still going through it. And, because it's a journey. I'm always growing. I'm always here to help. So if there's something that I can do for you to provide value in your life, then reach out to me and I will do that. I will do my best to do whatever I can to help you. So don't ever feel like, just because we're, running this whole thing that we don't have time. We have time to make difference in people's lives. So we'll always be here to help. We're working a lot of things on Team Serious, but for now we're focused on this event. So as soon as this event goes, as soon as everything happens, we'll hop on a little bit more and tell you more about Team Serious. If you'd like to get involved with us, we're always here, open arms. There'll be a Discord link in the chat. So hop on, let's play some games. If anything, if we can't help you, at least we can help you playing some games. Everybody likes to play games here. So other than that, you can reach me on the Team Series Discord. I am one of the admins there, and you can reach out to me there. That's probably the only place that I get on. I'm not really active in social media anymore thanks to my routine, and I gave it up. So it was a little tough, but, I am on Discord, so you can reach out to me there. Again, my name is Shook. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for sharing, Shook. I am panicking a little bit because I don't have my script. So you can find me on the Team Serious Discord. My name is here, and on the United Vindication Discord. I'm on Twitter once again. Flap and Smack. I'll talk to you about your problems. I'll be nice.
Great, Flap. Always good.
First,
I just wanted to say, if you take away one thing from this entire podcast, it's, break the stigma. You do not have to be silent and do that alone. You can reach out to anyone on this podcast, anyone for help. Just reach out. Do not be afraid. Do not feel like you have to go it alone. Like Natso said, we're all in here to get together. We're all willing to talk. We all want to talk. We all want you here. And that's very important. And I wanted to thank, UV, Club Kiwi, Rage Zone, Galaxy Hound for letting Team Serious be a part of this. Thanks for letting me be on the podcast. It was absolutely great. And I really think it's a great thing that everyone organized. It's like a 4-day event. It's huge, and absolutely is going to do a ton for the mental health and the community that needs to hear these kind of things. So I think that was really important. You can find me on YouTube at Brosine or on Twitch sometimes randomly at Twitch TV/Brosine. Coming up soon, we will have the leader of UV, Tombstone, one of the leaders. I think that's how it works over there, the hierarchy. He will be on my Christmas episode of the Bro Show. I have a lot prepared for him. He is not prepared, trust me. and I'm very excited for that show. So that is going to be the 19th at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time today. I appreciate you. Everybody from this panel is from Team Serious. Everybody on this panel is a serious gentleman. Major shout out to Club Kiwi, Rage Zone, Galaxy Hound, and our sister community, United Vindication. Much, much fucking love to that community. I appreciate every single one of you today in chat. Today is part of the event and the remaining time for today, because I will be back on this channel later on today. I think 2 more times. Y'all gonna get tired of listening to me. I told Tombstone that. I was like, y'all gonna get tired of me. But today's my day. I got this podcast. I got my own channel, and then I got the admin roundtable at the end. But yeah, I'm telling y'all tired of hearing me. But I appreciate every single one of you. Anything and everything ever said. TeamSeriousDave.com. You can check us out, join the community, get into our tournaments. We do all kinds of esports tournaments. You're a Rocket League player, come check us out. If you're an Overwatch player, if you're a Siege player, Counter-Strike Go, and whatever other game I'm missing, because I'm StarCraft 2. I can't believe I forgot StarCraft. With that being said, be safe. Listen to your government about COVID, social distancing. Wash your damn hands. Wash your ass. Use a hand sanitizer. Do whatever you got to do. But don't get COVID. Love your asses. And always remember, stay serious. I'll check you out next time.
Bye. Don't put hand sanitizer in your butt.